Why am I taking a pay cut when I'm not the one asking to leave? He just said, if you don't take a pay cut and leave and you stay, he's going to make your life a living hell. I attempted to take my own life, woke up the next morning and went training. My name is Marvin Sordell. I am a former professional football player. I'm now a producer, writer, entrepreneur. I grew up in Harrow, so in northwest London, and lived in many different parts of Harrow. It was just me, my mum, my sister. That was it growing up. My dad left when I was like 6, I think. So from that point on, it's just like, that's what I remember, just me, my mum, my sister. My sister's a few years older than me. And my childhood was good, man. Good memories of just playing football. That was just it. My whole life, everything at that age was just revolved around just playing football. That's all I cared about, was just, all I wanted to do be a professional. But I was never that guy who, you know, there's some players who were just from young, they were just streets ahead of everyone. I was never that guy. I had to work hard, like that was just it. And when I first started playing football, I was a goalkeeper, and I didn't like playing goal, but it was just like, you know, we need a goalkeeper, and I was just like, I want to play football, so I'll go and goal. My mum, when I was like 6, 7 years old, I remember saying, I want to be a professional football player, or maybe I was like slightly older. So I remember watching the World Cup '98, and I remember watching the first game I remember watching was Arsenal-Newcastle '98 FA Cup final. And I remember seeing Anelka score, and I was just like, I want to do that. That's what I want to be when I'm older. I want to be like Nicholas Anelka. I want to be like Ian Wright. I want to be like Thierry Henry, those kind of guys. And I'm saying to my mum that I want to be a professional football player when I grow up, and she didn't even think that was a real job. I mean, it's kind of not a real job, to be honest, but yeah, like she didn't know anything about football or the football industry, so she was just, but in the same way, she was just always encouraging me to just do what I loved and what I was passionate about. So she didn't discourage me in that way, do you know what I mean? The first place that I went to play football was Sunday League team. I was 6 or 7. And it's just one of my friends at school was playing for this team, and because I said I just wanted to play football, I said I want to go. Said to my mum, I want to go and play with my friend's team, and went down, winning goal, as I said. And I was like, the manager after the session said, "We're not going to sign your son. He's shit." And I'm like, I'm standing there, I'm a little boy, and I remember that day I was just crying, and my uncle took me to the aquarium just to cheer me up and stuff, and I went and played for another team, and from that I played for like quite a few Sunday teams. Ended up playing up front because I wanted to play up front the whole time. Like I said, all I wanted to do was score goals. I didn't care about anything else in football. I said I just want to score goals. Didn't want to be in goal. And playing Sunday League, I went to like these open trial days to try and get scouted, because as I said, I was just so desperate to try and get into the system. I saw friends getting scouted, going to academies, signing for academies, not coming back to Sunday League. So I'm thinking, when's my time gonna come? Like, I used to practice every single day. When I say practice, it's not like I'll go outside and just have a kick about with friends. I'm saying like, I'll take my ball on my own, rain, shine, anything. My mum always said, if you want to do something, you have to do it properly. She always said that. And so I knew that I couldn't just, if I was just sat at home, not playing football, how am I going to get better at playing football? How are you going to get better at anything if you're not working at it all the time? And so I was just out there with my ball, kicking the ball against the neighbour's wall. And I used to get so mad. But every day, left foot, right foot, practicing everything. So I got scouted for Chelsea, went on trial there, didn't get signed, but I learned a lot. Playing Sunday League football, being in a professional setup in an academy are just vastly different. You know, in terms of the training session, the coaching, the attention to detail, the understanding, like little details, like maybe coaching now is different at Sunday League level because people understand football more, there's more analysis. But at that age, it was just, Sunday League, you go to training, you just pay 5-a-side basically, you know? And when I went into that session, the first few sessions, I was like, whoa, like doing passing drills, it's like you're taking on a lot of information to keep up with what's going on. And so you understand to think more when you're playing, as opposed to just, you can't just go out and play. Football's just so much more advanced at that stage. I got scouted for Fulham the next year, and then I got signed like literally after 2 weeks. And I remember just thinking, this is it. This is my last chance now. I thought 14, like I've never signed for a professional club, and at that age you're thinking, you're getting, it sounds mad, but you think you're quite old, because kids are getting scouted like 6, 7. So I was thinking, this is it. This is my last chance. So I have to make sure I get signed. And first game I scored 2. My second game I scored 2 again. And literally after that game, they pulled me and said, yeah, we're going to sign you. It's weird because I felt relieved. Like, whew, I've done it. Like I've signed. And then honestly, instantly, as soon as I felt that, I was like, wow, I got all this to go now. Like I've just climbed one ladder. I've got to the top of this ladder of, suddenly getting to sign. It's like, boom, across, bottom of that ladder. Now, to get to pro, first you have to get to under 16s, then you have to get signed as a scholar, and then you have to get pro. So that's another whole ladder to climb. So I thought, I got to go again. Everybody else around me in school is saying, I want to be a professional football player. And I'm looking thinking, do you really? Because when I go home, I leave school and I go home. If I'm not going to training, I'm going to go practice by myself. What are you doing? You're going out, you're going bus stop, you're hanging out, you're going parties, you're doing this, you're doing that. Like, you say you want to be a professional football player, but do you really? And I'm looking at that, and that's my motivation, because I'm like, I do, I know I do. And that's why I'm going to get there, because that's it. That's all that's in my mind, is I'm going to make it. So signed under 14s, and I scored a lot of goals that year. And then the next year, I guess, I don't know, maybe you kind of take your foot off the accelerator a bit and you just expect more. And it's a wake up call, because you just, I went up, and it's at Fulham, or in the academy setup, it's 15s and 16s mixed. And I'm going up as an under 14 thinking, I've just scored a bag of goals. I'm gonna play because I'm good. And I was like, you gotta realize like that's just not it. Like, being good isn't enough. Like that's the craziest thing, is like, you have to be good, but you also have to be dedicated. You have to be professional. You have to work hard. You have to apply yourself. You have to bounce back. You have to react well to negativity. And I didn't do those things. And that first year was so hard, because I was just, obviously I'm still young, and I'm trying to get my head around it. And I'm thinking, am I good enough? Am I doing the right things? Am I gonna make it? Do I want to make it? I'm looking like internally, saying, am I questioning myself? Like, do you really want this? Because I'm not getting on with coaches. I'm not really enjoying the dressing room environment, and it was tough when you're playing in Europe. The under 16s going to play because they're playing to get their scholarship, so naturally they're going to play. And I found that frustrating at the time, because I was thinking, well, I think I'm better than this guy, so why am I not playing? And I'm questioning that. But he's a coach. Football's a strange. You can't really question authority. Essentially, you can't question the managers or coaches, because it's just not the thing that you do in football. And I always do that, and I have always done that. I always will question, because if I think something to question it, I'm going to question it. So yeah, again, as I said, it was just a lot for me to learn in that year. From literally the beginning of my under 16s, I was looking way ahead. So I was just thinking, the roadmap to me becoming a professional is this. Like, there's steps to becoming a professional and playing in the first team. I wanted to play in the first team as young as possible. I had players in my under 16 team. Like, one of the players made his Premier League debut when we were under 16s, when he was in school, a guy called Matthew Briggs. And I saw that as motivation. I thought, I want to be playing in the first team. I want to be playing in the first team soon. And I was looking at Fulham, and I thought, Fulham's got a big first team squad. Premier League, they're obviously a Premier League club, like established Premier League club at the time. They got a big first team squad. They got a big reserve squad, and then they got a big under-18 squad. And I'm looking, thinking, these guys don't even really fancy me that much. They don't really rate me that highly. So it's not like they're just going to push me through, because I'm just going to be like, hey, he's all right. If he does amazing, then we're going to potentially push him. But they're not like there on my side to just accelerate me through like some of the other guys. So I was looking, thinking, the pathway to the first team is just blocked. I want to play in the first team. So when they said, we're not going to give you a scholar, we don't think you're quite good enough, I sat there with my mum, and we had, as I said, we had a lot of conversations about things like this. And we both started smiling, and they must have thought, these guys are mad. Like, why are they smiling? They must have like signed up their sleeve or whatever. Didn't have anything up sleeve. It was just, I didn't want to be there to feel stuck, because I knew that most players, when they play in the first team, or when they get their pro, it's because they've had their scholar at the same club. So you normally go scholar pro into the first team. It's difficult, so difficult to get your scholar somewhere and then try and get a pro somewhere else. It's very, very difficult. And so I wanted to get scholar pro somewhere, and I knew Fulham wasn't going to be that place. And so when they said, I'm not giving you that, I was happy. But it was just at that point, it was just kind of down to luck and down to whatever opportunities were going to come up. So I went to a thing called exit trials. So basically every player who is released from a professional club, they can opt in, so they don't actually have to do it. So you can opt in to play in these trial games essentially, and you get just basically on the day, just get put in a team with loads of other guys, and you just play matches against other people, and there's loads of scouts there. It's a bit of a mad environment, to be honest. I'm sat there, to be perfectly honest myself, when I was in that environment, because I knew that I wanted to be there. I felt good, I felt ready, I was hungry, and obviously I saw it as, this is my last chance. Like, this is a big last chance. I have to smash it. One of the things I did before that, I was like, I don't want to play out front. I want to play out wide, because if I'm playing a team that's not good, I'm not going to get the ball. If I don't get the ball and I don't score, I don't get seen. So I need to play out wide. That was the first thing I did. That I was like, I have to do that. I have to play out wide. Did that, and I remember being in the dressing room before and looking around at my team, and I'm seeing these kids like looking nervous. Some look like they're about to be sick, and I'm just thinking, like, this is what it is. Like, this is the real world. This is at 16. This is football. This is what football is about. This is the pressure. This is you have to fly. If you wanna make it, you have to thrive in these environments. And for me, I was just like, I'm gonna go get it. I have to do it. There isn't a it's not gonna work. It's just, I need to do it. And I went out, I did well. I went to 3 exit trials. I came out off the back of that with like, I can't even remember how many clubs it was, but there was a lot of interest. Like, oh, we'll have a look, you can go on trial. But there was serious interest from, I think there was three or four clubs that were seriously interested. Celtic were one of them. Port Vale at the time. I remember I spoke to Port Vale, like went up there to see the stadium and stuff, had a conversation with them. They were like, if you sign for us, we're gonna like accelerate you, push you into the first team straight away. So we're gonna sign Scholar Pro at the same time, and you're just gonna basically not be with the youth team, you're gonna be with the first team at 16, which is amazing. But then I thought, well, am I gonna get the coaching I need to progress beyond that? Because it's all good and well playing first team, but am I ready for the first team? Probably not. So what's gonna happen if I go in the first team and I fail, and then what? And then I'm not getting the coaching I need to build up. You know, I didn't want to take too big a step really. And then see Watford come in as well, and I went on trial there, trained with the under 16s, and I thought, this could be the club. Like, under 16 manager was Mark Warburton at the time, who's QPR manager now. And then looked at Watford and thought, they've got such a clear pathway to the first team. They've got so many players who've graduated from the academy playing for the first team. Premier League at the time, but like in between Premier League and Championship, so good status. Their academy, so every game you're playing, you know, Arsenal's, Chelsea's, Tottenham's, so you're getting good competition all the time. You're gonna get good coaching. So I thought, this could be it. They didn't have a reserve squad. So I thought, if you do well, you're going to get into the first team quickly. So I thought, I have to, when Watford come up, I was like, this is it. I need to just make sure I smash it. And luckily I got signed. Well, when I got there under 16s, it was great. I was training well, playing. I started playing for the under 18s, so I started playing up a bit and training with them a few times. Signed a scholar, of course, and then that summer, obviously, went away, come back into the youth team, and boy, that first year was hard. Again, like I found that first year going from, basically, I would say that's the biggest step in football, going from 16s to 18s, essentially, because you go from being at school to being in a professional environment. Like, you're expected to act like a professional. And you're around the first team, you're in that environment every day, you're training full time. It's not like training 3 times a week. The intensity's higher, everything's just a big jump. And I found that really tough, like physically, emotionally, and I was just like, whoa, I need to, there's so much I need to do here because I'm not doing well, I'm not playing well, I'm not really getting many games, not getting game time with the reserves. So like everyone else in my age group's playing reserve football, and I'm just traveling, not even getting on the bench. And I thought, this is tough, man. I don't even know if I'm gonna do this. And I went away the year after, that first year of the scholar, and I was just like, basically looked at myself and said, again, you need to do more. You're playing against serious players. Like, you might not think household names, but these are guys who know the game. They played first team football. They play at high intensity. They're stronger than you, more intelligent than you. So you have to, it doesn't matter if I'm a young player thinking, I'm fast. This guy's just, he's like 20 stone. I'm just gonna run him. Nah, it's not that simple. He's played the game. He's played against quick players. He's been playing for 20 years. So he knows where to go. So all of a sudden you're thinking more, you're playing differently. And that's the education that really set me forward, because straight away I had to think so much more. A lot of the times it was just, I'm quick and that's fine. And then I realized that's not fine, that's not enough. You have to have better movement, you have to be more intelligent, you have to be better with your touches, you have to know how to use your body better. So all these things just added into just making me think so much more, and not just, because when you're physically above your age group, or you get to that point where you're physically above your age group, it can become easy, and then you're not going to improve. You're not going to have to think, because if you're just faster than everyone, you just think, right, I'm just going to stand there. When the ball comes to me, then I'm just going to kick it and run. If you're playing against someone who knows what's going to happen, then what? As a second year scholar, I also went on loan to a non-league team, Wealdstone, and I went there for 6 weeks. I was terrible, but it helped. It not just helped me as playing against people who just want to kick you and elbow you and pinch you and step on your feet, but I saw that and I was like, I don't want to ever play at this level. I came in after the first game and it was freezing cold. It was like November. It was freezing cold. Like, I was soaking wet, had a shit game, and got into the changing room, no towels, and the shower was freezing cold, and it was like dribbling. Just one shower that was just dribbling, it's freezing cold. And I saw that, and I just looked around and thought, this ain't me. If I wanna be up there, I need to work so much harder. I can't be here. With like all respect to people that play in non-league, but for me, that was the fire for me. I was just like, I can't do this. I need to play higher, so I need to work harder. I think a lot of people don't realize how difficult it is to become a pro and to stay a pro. Like, becoming a pro is a lot easier than staying a pro. It's hard to stay a pro. It's hard to play hundreds of games. So when you see players who play like 500 games and, they might play 500 games, League One, League Two, and the average person's thinking, why is everyone congratulating him? That's dead. You don't realize like how difficult that is. That's a big accomplishment, because you're putting your body through it every day. You're pushing the limits every day. You're working hard. You're dealing with politics. You're to get to that point where it's not talent, it's not just talent. Like people think just to become a footballer, you just got to be talented. I've seen so many talented players just fall by the side because talent isn't just, you can't just be talented. You have to have a mentality that makes you survive, really. It's not just about thriving as well, just to survive in that environment. I was in the first team squad for the last 2 or 3 games at AD Reeford was manager. So this is when I was a second-year scholar, so like I said, it was going really well. And travelled with the first team, was in the squad for like, I think a cup game against West Ham. I didn't make the bench for either, but to be in that environment was like, for me, it was just like, I'm close, I'm really close here. And then he left. I don't know why, I can't remember if he got sacked or mutual consent or whatever, but he left. Brendan Rodgers came in as manager, and he, again, like he brought in quite a few players, like loan players. I think he brought in a couple from Chelsea as well. So for me, it was just like, it pushed me back because obviously he brought in more players. But even just being involved with some of the training sessions that he did, and he had Frank Lampard Senior. So Frank Lampard's dad came in as like, I think to help him out in terms of coaching, and this is his first managerial job. And being involved in some of those sessions, just being able to learn that much from people who are that experienced, like talking with Frank Lampard Senior about the way Drogba played and the way like Frank Lampard would strike a ball, and like the way they move, the way they take their touches and stuff. It's just honestly invaluable to my development at that time. A good coach is going to improve you as a player. A good manager is going to get better results, potentially. If you obviously now you see some who are very good managers and good coaches. Good managers are the ones who understand team selection, tactics better, how to manage your players, keeping when players are coming in and out of the team, how to keep people happy, how to keep people motivated. Good coaches are just, as first team managers like that are good coaches, they just think, I'm just gonna, on the training ground every day, just improve them, and just think, it's all about thinking, you know what I mean? Whereas you get some that are just a really good blend of both, and Brendan Rodgers was definitely that. And I've never seen or heard a player speak badly of him, which is, you don't realize how big that is in football, because you think how many players get dropped, how many players don't get to stay in his teams, how many players he sells, how many players he loans out, and I've never heard a player say a bad word about him. I actually, at the end of that season of second-year scholar, when Brendan Rodgers was manager, he gave me a pro contract. And I remember sitting in the meeting after like a couple players had been released. So I was the last person to go in to the meeting. 2 players that day had been released, and there was 3 of us who were going in for conversations. And I thought, boy, if 2 players have been released before me, then it's just inevitable that it's going to be me third. And I went in and he just grilled me and then said, but I'm going to give you your pro contract. I was so confused, but I was just like, just happy. And that the next season he left in the summer, and Malcolm Mackay took over, and I like made my debut that year. I scored my first goal, so I scored in the League Cup against Leeds. And I started my first game like all within like quite a quick succession. And then I was just traveling. I wasn't involved. I wasn't on the bench really. I was just traveling a lot. And I kept asking, I want to go on loan, because I thought, I'm 18, I'm going to be 19. I need to be playing first team football, because I just need to get games, because that's what's going to help me get forward, is just getting games. If I want to get into this team at Watford, I need to get some games. I need to be playing. And eventually in January, he was like, yeah, last day, I think it was like a couple days before the window closed or something like that. He's gone, you can go on loan. We're bringing someone else in, so you can go on loan. You can go to Barnet or you can go to Tranmere. Barnet was local. See, like I think they were training in Edgware or something at the time, and see, living in Harrow. So I was thinking that'd be nice, but they were in League 2, and then Tranmere were way up north by Liverpool, but they were in League 1. And I thought, if I go and play League 1, I'm 18, turning 19. get some games in League One, that's gonna look very good. Even if I play average, which I did, I went there and I was average to poor probably, but again was another stepping stone. It was another foundation that allowed me to then go the next year. Well, I came back from my loan at Tranmere and I played a couple games in the first team at Watford and scored my first league goal. Raheem Sterling, Alex Chamberlain, like Wilf Zaha, like those are like the attacking players. And yeah. Obviously Jordan Henderson was captain as well. Like he just signed for Liverpool for 20 million. And so I'm looking at these guys thinking, whoa, like I'm one of the only players here that doesn't play in the Premier League. Like these guys are talking, yeah, we've got Chelsea away next week, we've got Man City at home this week, or United this week, and I'm like we've got Scunthorpe. Basically my whole life, particularly from outside people in football, like the fact that I wanted to be a professional football player, I had so many people saying, you're not going to make it, you're not going to make it. So in my head, as well as me thinking, I'm going to show you wrong, I'm still thinking, am I good enough to stay here? Am I good enough to be here? I'm seeing these guys, obviously, these are big names. Like, obviously, Alex Chamberlain just signed for Arsenal at that point as well. So I'm thinking, these guys are all big names playing in the Premier League. I'm just little me just playing for Watford, do you know what I mean? I had a lot of conversations as well with Stuart Pearce, and he used to, honestly, he used to pull me in sometimes, and he used to have meetings and he'd just go, show me clips of training or show me clips of games and say, you need to just believe in yourself because this is what you can do. And I was just like, yeah, I know, but I don't know, man. I signed for Bolton and I was just like, whoa, like this is crazy. Like I'm actually a Premier League football player. You know, I've just been signed for a couple million pounds, and I'm going to be playing in the Premier League. It was a bit hard to believe, to be honest, at first, because I thought, yeah, I feel like I should be here, but at the same time, it's like I'm going to be going into the dressing room. I'm seeing like people like Kevin Davis, who's big Kevin Davis, who's been playing in the Premier League for a long time, like UC Jääskeläinen, who I used to watch when I was a kid, like, you know, looking at these guys and going to be in the dressing room with them, like Martin Petrov, and thinking, am I going to be good enough to be here? You know, I was young as well. Like when I signed for Bolton, I was 20. You know, for me, I'd never had anywhere near that amount of money before. You know, I grew up with basically nothing, and my mum just worked hard to just provide, basically. So it was just an opportunity to really help people and look after people that were close to me and support them as best as I could. Obviously, I was a young guy, so I made a lot of, I've made silly mistakes with money, but a lot of the things I don't regret, mostly because most of my money was spent on experiences. So like life experiences, like holidays and going to events, like things that really like are memories more than anything, and that's what I value most. But I did spend money on objects as well, like watches and stuff, and I look back now and I'm just like, I shouldn't have done that, but at the same time I'm glad I did that because I was young, and now I've got kids, now I've got serious commitments to in life, so I'm not going to make those mistakes because I've already made them. So if I did come into that situation where financially, you know, I just all of a sudden had an acceleration in my financial situation, it wouldn't affect me or change me in the way it did, because I know how to handle it. Because it's not easy to just be able to just like, you know what, I've got loads of money, I know what to do with it. Like if you gave anybody here, just for example, just gave them £1 million, most people just spend it and wouldn't even think like, how do I create longevity with this? It didn't start off great because within like 10 days, I think, I got injured. So I made my debut after a couple of days after I signed. And then I played in a reserve game, like under 21s game or something. And it was really innocuous. Like someone like played a ball and there was someone standing literally directly in front of me. And like they kind of ducked as the ball's like come head high and it just hit me in my eye. And I couldn't see anything out of my eye. I was like, this is like really weird. I'm playing the game. I couldn't see anything. And I was at halftime, come off and said to the doctor, what's going on? Went to the hospital and I had a scratched retina. And they basically said I can't do anything for 2 weeks. So I can't exercise at all. I had to have these drops and stuff in my eye. And they said, if you raise your heart rate to whatever, you have the risk of going blind in that eye. So I was like, well, this is great. So I was at home for 2 weeks, basically not doing anything. So obviously didn't start well because I just signed and then couldn't play for a while, you know what I mean? The large, overwhelming majority of football players, the reason why they become professionals is because they love playing football. And not every football player can just play football, because some are on the bench, some are injured, some are not in the squad, some are out of favour. And you forget that all they want to do is play football, first and foremost, because they love playing football. And when all you know your whole life is, I'm a football player, so you associate everything in your life and everyone associates you with playing football. And for me, at that point when I wasn't playing football, I was like, what am I now? Who am I now? You lose that. You haven't got an identity because your identity is, I'm just a football player that plays football. When you're not playing football, you're just nothing. And that's how you feel. And you think, you start to go inside your head and you start to question yourself, you question what's going on around you. And my circumstances, obviously my home setup wasn't great. So at that point I was living in Manchester on my own. I didn't have any friends, I didn't really do much up there. So going home after training was just, for me, it was just like an extension of training. And training I'm not really enjoying because I'm just thinking, well, I'm here, like no one's really, like the coaching staff not really chanting me that much. So I don't really feel like I'm a part of it. I'm not really playing I'm not playing on the weekends, not really in squads and stuff. So you just start to think more and more and more and you get deeper. And then of course, like personal things and things from past coming up, and you kind of add that all into that situation at a time when if you give someone a lot of time to think and what's on their mind is negative or what's on their mind is traumatic things, then the chances are they're going to just go deeper and deeper and deeper and they're going to spiral. I think now things are different, but particularly at that time, I come through in like a generation of football players who were like in between like the new school, new generation and the old school. So when I first broke through, all of the dressing room and the first team players were just all senior pros. When I was coming to the end, it was just really young, mostly young players. And that's just, football's just shifted. So the conversations now obviously are very different to how it would have been then. And it was literally, you just come in, you train, you go home, everyone goes back to their families. I'm just obviously going home to my apartment on my own. And when you talk about it, you just get on with it. Like people see you down, like, it's just like, cheer up. I started seeing a therapist after some time, and she was like pretty adamant that I go to the Priory. And I don't know if any of you guys know what the Priory is, but it's basically if you're like, she was a doctor, so I don't like technically a therapist, but she was a doctor, psychologist, I think. And she was like, yeah, I'm a bit worried, concerned. Obviously, you're living on your own as well. So I think you should, have a couple of weeks at the Priory. I was like, how? I'm a professional football player. The club's not just going to be like, yeah, just go away for 2 weeks. That's fine. When they're paying me good money, and they've obviously paid for me, and transfer fee and stuff. They're not just going to be like, that's fine. You can just go. But I was like, cool. Let me see if I can ask, and we can go from there. I never asked, but later down the line, I got a call from my mum, and she was like, just had the chairman of the club call me, and he was like, saying like, why are you playing the piano? Why are you learning a language, why he cooking, he needs to concentrate on football, and why is he going to the Priory? Like, he needs to just concentrate on his football. That was the chairman of the club, and I was just like, well, at that time, I didn't really think too much of it at that time. I was just like, I just need to I guess, concentrate on football more and just like keep myself to myself and not do these things. And it was only a couple years later, I was like, hold on, this guy knew. Like, for him to say, like, why is he going to the Priory? He knows that something's happening there. If you hear Priory, that's a red flag, right? Nobody spoke to me. Nobody at the club spoke to me about anything. New manager come in. Initially, we didn't see eye to eye, so I was training on my own for like 2 months or something. So literally, like 2 days later, it was like, yeah, I think you're really unfit. I think you need to have extra sessions. And I thought, like, cool, that's fine. Like, extra sessions, like that's fine. But then he was like, I'm gonna take you out of the squad for 3 months. I was like, what? Like, what do you mean 3 months? Like, how long that 3 months? Like, that's most of the season. And he was like, yeah, I'm gonna take you out of the squad for 3 months and you're just gonna do extra sessions. I thought, well, there's not really much I can do about that. So I'm doing that, doing these sessions, like getting in early. I was leaving at like 5 o'clock. Like most players are leaving at like 1, 1:30. I'm leaving at like 5, like basically every day. Like initially it was me and another player, Marcus Alonso. And obviously he went on to Fiorentina, Chelsea and stuff. And then it was just me for most of the time. And eventually I got in the squad, started playing, scored quite a few goals. I thought, all right, pre-season, I want to probably try and get off if this is what it's going to be like. Come back pre-season, like literally like we just first met, like a new person, like having like had a much better relationship, speaking more. I started playing, like I played basically every game in pre-season, scored quite a few goals, and I thought, cool, this is fresh slate, like this feels good, feels nice. And then literally on the Wednesday before the first game of the season, I got a call from my agent, and I was in London because it was day off. I was in London at my girlfriend's house. And my agent's gone, what have you done to the manager? I was like, what do you mean, what have I done to the manager? He's like, he told me that you're going on loan. I was like, no, I'm not, I'm playing Saturday. Like, what are you talking about? I played like every game in pre-season. I just played the last friendly, so I'm gonna be playing Saturday probably. And he was like, nah, he just told me that you have to go on loan. I was like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, call him back, like say what the situation is. He's like, yeah, you have to go on loan. Like, these are your options, basically. It was Charlton and Bournemouth at the time. Bournemouth had just got promoted. And I was like, right, if that's what it is, then that's what it is. Charlton finished like 10th the season before. Bournemouth just got promoted. I thought, cool. Charlton probably seemed a safer bet. Let me go to Charlton. I didn't really know anything about Bournemouth. I thought, let me go to Charlton. Call me back like 2 minutes later. He's like, oh yeah, by the way, you have to take a pay cut. I was like, I didn't even ask to leave. Like, so you're saying I got to leave and I got to take a pay cut? I was like, I'm not taking a pay cut. That's just like, why am I taking a pay cut when I'm not the one asking to leave? Call me back 30 seconds later. He goes, he just said, if you don't take a pay cut and leave and you stay, he's going to make your life a living hell. And I was like, guess I'm going Charlton then. I'm going to take a pay cut then, I guess. That's mad. It's funny, when I was driving down to Charlton, the morning that I was driving down to Charlton, Sean Dyche called me, and he was at Burnley at this point, and he obviously was my manager before at Watford. So he's like, I heard you're going on loan to Charlton, don't go there, come sign for us at Burnley. And I was like, you know what? I want to. He's like, you're not gonna have to take a pay cut, you're not gonna have to move house, you don't have to deal with it, like we're looking to kick on. I was like, I want to, but I can't. I've already told Chris Powell that I'm gonna sign and I don't want to go against my word. And like, that's important to me. It's important to me because I thought, I've already said yes. I can't just call him up now when I'm driving down and just say, nah, it's not right. Long story short, Burnley got promoted that year, and at Charlton we had a relegation battle the whole year. So I started the first game. first couple games, didn't really do great. To be honest, I was rocked still from what happened at Bolton, and then I was just out of the team, and I just thought I was just low at this point. Obviously, like, I'm not in a great place anyway. Like, suffering from depression, I'm on medication. Got to a point where I was literally coming home from training, just drinking every day, and obviously I'm on medication as well, so I shouldn't have been drinking anyway. But I was literally waking up last minute. I was probably the last person getting to training, first person to leave. Wouldn't even stay for lunch, wouldn't chat to no one, nothing, and just go home, and I'll just sit there and just drink, basically from when I got home till when I went to sleep. Like, at that point, it was just like I'd fallen out of love with life, and I was just like, just numb. There wasn't necessarily a tipping point. It was just an accumulation over time where I was just like, what's the point? Like, what's the point anymore? Because I'm so numb that why am I just carrying on? Like, being alive is more painful. It feels more painful being alive. How many people that have you heard that have been successful, that have had money, talk about their struggles with mental health? A lot. It just goes to show you that money doesn't do that. I thought that, because obviously I come up from humble beginnings, no money. I thought, when I got money, that's it. Like, life's just good, life's blessed. It's not that simple, man. Because money may solve all of your other problems, but the problems that are going in here and in here, money can't solve those. Yeah, I attempted to take my own life. Like, I'm not obviously going to talk about that, but woke up the next morning and went training. Chris Powell left, obviously, a new manager come in, and it was like a new lease of life almost. Like, this guy was just like, on his first day that he came in, like, had a really long conversation with me, just gave me confidence, belief, said that I'm going to play, had a great end to the season. And then in the summer, I still signed to Bolton, but Burnley came in and wanted to sign me. But it wasn't straightforward, because Bolton were like, the day I was going to sign for Burnley, Bolton said, yeah, you owe us X, Y, Z. It was like 6 figures. I was like, what? Like, what's going on here? Like, and they were like, yeah, whoever did the pay cut didn't implement it properly, so you only had a little pay cut, not the full pay cut. So you owe us this now. And I was like, you lot are getting a transfer fee and getting me off the wage. I still got another 2 years at the club. So basically, out of spite, you want to take this money from me when you're gonna save and receive way more. I was like, cool. If that's what they want to do, I'll just stay for 2 years. If that's what they want to do, because at this point I'm mad. I was like, I'll just stay for 2 years, and then eventually got a settlement, and I ended up having to pay Bolton for 6 months after I left, because I just wanted to leave. As everyone says, football's a man's game. It's not as straightforward as that, though. Football's a very complex game. It's a very complex industry, and you're dealing with a lot of people and a lot of emotion. And so you need to understand, people who are involved in the game need to understand that and really take that into consideration in their dealings. I say it was a tough period of my life, man. Like, I can speak about it quite frankly now, because I've spoken about it a lot, I've thought about it a lot, and I've healed off the back of it. But yeah, like, that, it was a real dark couple of years. I'd been thinking about retiring for a few years before I actually did so. And I think it was the fact that before I retired, I spent a few months out injured. And at that point, I'd never been injured really for a significant period in my career. So I was out injured for about 3-4 months. And I wasn't treated great when I was injured, if I'm being very frank. I was basically told that I was faking it. I had 5 scans on my knee that showed 5 different diagnoses on my knee. Bearing in mind, at this point, I'm in excruciating pain. Like, I couldn't bend down to change my daughter's nappy. I was in a lot of pain. So I knew that there was something wrong. Like, doesn't matter what any doctor tells me, I'm in pain. And I I had a private scan because I was at this point where I was like, I'm not sure if I trust what they're doing because they're trying to get me out of the club, get me off the wage bill. So I'm not sure if I trust what they're saying. And it's crazy, but I just thought, let me just check. And at this point, I'm doing my research every single day on Google, looking at people's, reading papers on knee injuries, looking at people's accounts, looking at just loads of different people's experiences and stuff, looking at anatomy to understand like what's going on, trying to match up the pain with what it may be. Figured out what it was roughly that I thought. Had this scan privately and thought, and it came up the same thing. And I thought, cool, that makes sense now. I feel at ease because I understand what's going on. Because the biggest problem was I'm in pain. Everyone's telling me it's fine. I know it's not fine. I'm sorry, I got the diagnosis and I called up the physio and I was like, don't be mad, but I got a private scan because I wanted to basically get peace of mind over what's going on. Obviously, you know that I'm really stressed out of this, and I just want to be fine. Really, I just don't want my knee to be in. I don't want to be in pain. And he was like, "Cool, no problem. Let's get it sorted. Let's get an operation booked." Cool, that's fine. Come in the next morning. The manager comes to me, hands me a letter, and goes, "There you go. That's a week's wages." I was like, "What?" Open it up, and it said breach of contract. I've gone, nah, I'm not having this. Gone to his office and what's this about? And he goes, yeah, you went and got a scan without the club's permission. You're not allowed to get, it's in your contract, you're not allowed to get any treatment or any advice without permission from the club. Bearing in mind, that's including things like yoga, gym instructors, like any little thing, like even a massage, that's what basically it covers. Everyone knows that if you're a player and you need something, you're going to just get it done because you're going to ask the club, am I allowed to go and have a massage? I'm just going to go get it because that's what helps you. And I was like, nah, this is him trying to use this to get me out of the club. Lo and behold, he's like, later down the line, they were like try to pay me up like 10% of my contract, and I had a year and a half left. And my missus is pregnant at the time. He's like, oh yeah, you know, if you take this, you'll be able to move down, get closer to your family in London. Like, nah, don't be cheeky. Like, that offer is cheeky. And he's like, yeah, if you do that as well, we'll waive your fine. I was like, this guy like is taking a piss here. And I was just like, you know what? I ended up going on loan to Northampton, and I just thought, in that period of time when I was injured, I'm spending more time with family, spending more time with my daughter, my wife. With friends, like when they're playing away games, like I'd have a couple of days off, spend time with family and friends as well, more time in London. I started doing other things. I started filmmaking, started writing more. I wrote a couple of articles as well, and I just thought, I don't need football. I don't need football anymore. Like, I felt like so relieved. I was just like, I've got something else now. I've got an outlet, I've got persona, I've got an identity that I don't have to do this anymore. So this guy's telling me like, you know, basically trying to hold something against me that shouldn't be held against me because I'm just trying to help myself be fit and healthy. I was like, I don't need to deal with people like or situations like that anymore. I'm free. I'm free from having that. And so I looked and I thought, financially, okay, now I have a path. I want to go down more so the filmmaking, writing path. And I have a path there that I can go down. So in terms of a career path, knowing how to build something up, cool, I'm gonna go down that route. If someone told me when I was 6 years old that this was gonna be your career, you're gonna play like 300 games, you're gonna play in the Premier League for 2 clubs, you're gonna play for England, you're gonna play in the Olympics, you'd say, no way, like, there's no chance. But I did all that. And I was 28 and I thought, it's time for new dreams. Sometimes, because as I said, like, I got imposter syndrome as well. And for me, like, going and being a professional football player and playing football, that's like an easy way for me to earn money. because it's what I've done. What I've done basically my whole life. So I know that I could have just continued playing. It's like it's easy to just coast by and just do that, but am I even getting what I want out of life? Because there's that saying like, are you living or are you existing? Because living is like you're doing everything you can to maximize life. If you're existing, you're just kind of coasting by. Like I got to that point where I know that I would have been just coasting by, just been picking up paycheck to paycheck, because I've just been thinking, where am I going? Like, where am I going in life? I didn't want that. That's not my mentality. Like, I always want to be striving for something better. So like, honest, it was a relief, because I felt I was being weighed down, like massively emotionally. I was being weighed down. So basically, I put a post out. That was my way of announcing my retirement. I said to the club, "There's no way you're going to put something out before me. This is the one thing that I have control of, because football is an industry that everything is controlled for you." I was like, "This is me. This is me taking control now. There's no way that someone else can do this for me." And I did that, and I remember pressing send, and I was just like, "That's it." Like, wow, like that's it now. And I just felt, this is the beginning of the rest of your life. Be open, be yourself, be honest, be authentic, because who else can you be? All you can be is yourself. And why would you want to spend time with someone who doesn't accept you for who you are? And one of the biggest things I always say is that emotion is a part of humanity, has always been, forever, and it forever will be. And so we shouldn't be afraid of emotions, because I think so many people, particularly men, we're afraid of emotions. We're afraid of talking about emotions as well. It's part of who we are, it's part of our DNA. So why is that? I think we should just embrace them more, accept them as well, because fighting against them ain't gonna do any good. So just accept them for what they are, and you can move forward.